Hi, and welcome to the Front Row webinar on School Edition. My name is Sarah, and I'm a former math and science teacher and now a content writer at Front Row. In this webinar, I will go over the components of Front Row's School Edition for both math and ELA, assuming that you are familiar with the free version of Front Row. If you're interested in getting a general overview of Front Row, you can go ahead and check out our webinar on getting started. So I'll first go over the components of School Edition for math, and then the components of School Edition for ELA. There will be time for questions at the end, so if you have any during the webinar, simply use the chat feature and I will go through them. Let's go ahead and get started. So School Edition Math. School Edition Math comes with the 4 features that you see below. I will go through each and explain the deeper motivation behind each feature and how they help make math education even more effective in your school. So the first feature that comes with School Edition Math is inquiry-based lessons. When your school buys the School Edition, you get access to all of our inquiry-based lessons. These lessons take real-world situations to help students discover for themselves how math concepts work and why they are important. They engage students by presenting them with an interesting problem that they use math to figure out. For example, 3rd grade students use rounding to help the president plan for the fiscal budget, as you see here in this lesson. For a more detailed dive into how inquiry-based lessons work and the research they're based on, you can check out our webinar on inquiry-based lessons. The second feature of Front Row School Edition is unlimited assessments. Benchmark assessments allow teachers and administrators to test how students are performing at any given point in time. You can specify the domains and topics you want to test and see detailed reports for each student. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so here we are in the teacher dashboard, and to see the assessments that I was talking about, we're going to go from the teacher dashboard. We're going to go into the assessment section. And from here, you can, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can create a new assessment. You can select specific students you want to test. So I might only want to test a few specific students here. Or you can simply click Select All, and you can test all students. Then, after you've chosen the students you want to test, you can select a grade level. So we'll just scroll down here, and we can select a grade level. So let's select 4th grade. And once you've chosen the grade level you wish to test, you can then choose the specific domain you would like to test. So if we scroll down a little further, it gives me the domains for 4th grade. And let's say we want to test geometry. So we can test students in the geometry domain. And after we've done that, we can pick specific standards within that domain. So I could pick triangles, or I could select all standards in geometry to test students. I could also test students on all elementary school domains. So that's going to test them on everything in 4th grade. Okay. So as you can see, once again, you can choose the grade level you would like to test students on. You can select specific domains. And then after you select a specific domain, you can select a standard within that domain. Or you can test students on all standards in that domain. Or again, you can just test all domains at the same time. Okay, so there's lots of options with the benchmark assessments there. And once you've done that, you just click Create Assessment, and it will give you the assessment tokens for your students to log in, and then you're done. After students are done taking the assessments, you'll see the results at the top of this page. So let's go ahead and scroll up. And as you can see, this teacher has given 2 assessments so far. When you view the assessments, you can see the completion rate here. So it looks like the first assessment, the students have not completed this yet. On the second assessment we have for 5th grade domains, 62% of the students have completed. So you can see the completion rate. And you can also see how your class performed when you click View. That's going to take me to a view of the assessment. Okay, so then we can see the overall success on this assessment. And you can scroll down to get reports for individual students. So here's our overall success. And we can click here if we would like to view a specific student's report. So we want to see how Jeffrey did on this test. We click View Report. And then it's going to take us through all of the questions that Jeffrey answered and tell us what he answered, along with what was the correct answer. So we can see exactly in which standards Jeffrey is struggling. So this allows you to keep track of how well your students are mastering different concepts and make sure there are no surprises on your upcoming standardized tests. And again, with School Edition, you have unlimited benchmark assessments. Okay. So the next feature that comes with School Edition is the Admin Dashboard. The Admin Dashboard gives all of your administrators a full school view of how your students are performing in math. On logging in, this is what the page will look like for administrators. You can see a quick snapshot of each student, including data on their overall growth, how much they've grown, or their overall grade, excuse me. You can see their overall grade here in the first column. So we see this first student, David, is at a 4.86 grade level. And you can see that his overall growth from using front row is 0.88 grade levels during the time he's been using this. And you can see their grade level on specific domains. So we can see in geometry, David is at a 5.75 grade level. Okay, so that breaks it down really nicely for administrators to see student growth. The next thing administrators can do is if we click on the left-hand side, if they click Teachers, you can see a view of teacher usage. So you can see the usage by class, seeing each teacher and their number of students and how many questions they answered in the past week. So if we take a look here, we see the teacher's name, we see their email, and we see the number of students they have and how many total questions were answered in that class in the past week. The next feature on the administrator dashboard is the feed. So again, on the left-hand side, it'll look like this. We're going to just click on feed. And here you get a view of the questions each student answered on each day. So if we're looking at 10/15, October 15th today, and we see for this teacher, we see that Natalie, her student, has answered 65 questions, and we see the percentage correct and which standard those questions were in. So that's another really good view to see what's going on in individual teachers' classes with individual students and their progress. The next part of the administrator dashboard, if we click on the left-hand side on assessment analytics, we can see a view of the assessment performance by teacher and by grade. So if you open it up, you can click at the top here, you can click by grade, and that's going to break it down for students in your school in each grade level. So first, second, third, we have their assessment scores separated by grade. And then if you click by teacher at the top, you can break it down even more and see how students in specific teachers' classes are performing on assessments. And then if you want an even more detailed view of assessment progress, you can click on this tab at the bottom, Assessments. And this shows administrators' data on the benchmark assessments with the details here. If we click See Details on the side, that will show them the same view that teachers get of individual students' progress, what they answered correctly, what they didn't answer correctly. So again, this shows who issued the assessment. It shows the grade level, the teacher for that assessment, if the class has completed that assessment fully, and then if you click See Details, take a look at that. So if we click See Details on one of those assessments, then we can see the overall success of that teacher's class on that particular assessment. And then at the bottom, we'll see a breakdown by student and each student's accuracy and performance. All right. And last but not least, School Edition Math unlocks the full teacher dashboard. So we just took a look at the administrator dashboard. Now we're going to look at the teacher dashboard. So we're going to go back to our teacher account here. Let's go to our teacher dashboard. And so here we're on our teacher dashboard. If you click on individual practice reports, so that's right here, we have all of our practice reports here, and there are special features for School Edition. So if you go to Sessions, the second one from the top here, click on Sessions. Teachers now have access to past data before the past month. So if we click Showing Data As Of, we can see data from before this month. So September 7th to September 13th, so over a month ago. If we click on that, we will still have data for all of our students. This allows you to see in detail how students have been progressing in math through your class, since you can go back to the beginning from when they started using it. You can also, on this page, see the amount of time that your students spent on front row. So you can see the time that they're spending that day. And if we scroll to the bottom, we get more specific details about the time each student spent. So I'll scroll all the way to the bottom here. And we get a more detailed view of student sessions. So it tells us the time that a student spent in a given setting. Okay, let's go back to our reports. We'll go to Practice Reports. And another thing that's new here is if you go scroll down, if we go to the Growth tab, you now have access to detailed graphics and growth data for each student in your class. And that's taken a little bit longer to load. There we go. Okay, so as you can see the grade level that students started at when they started using Front Row, and then you can see the grade level they're currently at, and then it breaks it down in terms of their growth using Front Row. So these tools together help you keep track of how each student is doing in your class to ensure that every student is getting the absolute best math education that they can. Okay, so that's the teacher dashboard. So in summary, School Edition Math helps students develop a deep conceptual understanding of math, and it allows you to easily track student performance over time. It gives administrators access to valuable school-wide data, and it unlocks even more effective tools for teachers. And that's with the inquiry-based lessons, the unlimited assessments, the administrator dashboard, and the teacher dashboard that we just looked at. If you don't already have it, you can get School Edition Math for $12 per student with discounts if you purchase for many students. So that is School Edition Math. Now let's take a look at School Edition ELA. So with the free teacher edition, you get 5 article assignments per month for our adapted ELA program. We'll take a look at what that looks like. So let's go back to our teacher dashboard once more. Let's go home to the dashboard, and if you scroll down below mathematics, you'll see English Language Arts. And if you click Assign Articles, You can see the articles that we have here covering a wide range of topics. So each article comes at many different reading levels, as you see here. It's available at 5 levels. And these levels span from 1st through 8th grade so that each student can be reading about the same topic at their own level. The articles come with reading comprehension questions that test the student's understanding of the material. And these questions are based on the anchor skills that you can see in the little snippet here, such as explicit information, claims and evidence. So that's the skills that are covered in this article. In another article over here, you can see we have summarizing and main ideas. Claims and evidence are what are addressed in the questions for that article. So let's take a look at one of these. So you can see for Jim Crow laws here, we have the text and we have different levels. So we went from the highest level over here all the way to a level that will be more accessible for students who are maybe not reading at their grade level, and levels to challenge students who are reading above their grade level. As a teacher, you can see the questions on the right-hand side with the correct answers checked. And if we click Assign, if I decide that this is the article I want to assign for my class, I just click Assign. And then once students have taken the diagnostic for ELA, they have recommended levels for them for a particular article. So I can see that these students are all reading at some different reading levels, and the program recommends the level that you should be assigning to that student. If you would like to, you can change the reading level, but based on the diagnostic, these are the recommended reading levels that you assign. Okay? And then once you've gone through all those, you can just click Assign at the bottom. If we go back to the home page for ELA, so let's go back there to Home. Then we can click on Individual Practice Reports. And this is where we can see how students are doing in English Language Arts. So we can click here to see assignment reports, which shows students' reports on individual assignments. So let's click assignment reports. And we can see the articles that we've assigned here and the students that have completed those articles. If I want to see how my students did on the article for the first moon landing, I click View Report. And I can see how many questions each student answered correctly. If I want a more detailed view for a particular student, then I just click View Student Report. And that will show me exactly which answers the student chose and which answers should have been correct. So that's one of the reports you'll get here. A second type of report is the Anchor Skills Report. So now you can not only see how your students did on a particular assignment, but how you can see how they're doing on the anchor skills that I was just discussing. So let's check that out here. So this shows us how students are doing on those anchor skills of whether it be explicit information, summarizing and main ideas, analyzing connections, and so forth throughout all of the assignments that they've completed. And so with the school edition, you'll be able to access data for all students. As you see here, it says see all students. If you have the free version, you'll just see the first 3 students here, but for school edition, it will unlock data for all of your students. Currently, the school edition ELA is $3 per student, and there are discounts again if you purchase for many students. So again, the free teacher edition, you get 5 article assignments per month. With school edition, you get unlimited article assignments, and you get full access to the student reports. Our ELA program is very new, and so we'll be developing more features soon. All right, So with that overview of our School Edition Math and School Edition ELA, I'll take this time to take any questions you may have. Again, you can just chat them by clicking the chat bubble icon at the top, and you can send those my way, and I'll answer them for you. All right, so one question is, can I have access to the administrator dashboard as a teacher? And while the administrator dashboard does provide some awesome data for you to be able to learn about your school, currently the administrators only have access to the admin dashboard. If you'd like that data, you can just go ahead and ask your administrator to share it with you. Another question, as an admin, can I update rostering of my teachers? So that's a good question. As an admin, you cannot update the rosters for your teachers. We leave that for the teacher level, just for simplicity. It's much easier for one person to update a roster of 30 or so students than for an admin to update rosters of 500 students. All right. So again, to get a quote, just email quotes@frontrowed.com if you're interested in either School Edition Math or School Edition ELA. And in summary, we walked through the features of School Edition Math, which includes access to all of our inquiry-based lessons with a whole school purchase, unlimited benchmark assessments, our admin dashboard, and our full teacher dashboard. We also walked through the features of School Edition ELA, which includes unlimited assignments for our articles. If you would like to request a quote, again, just email quotes@frontrowed.com. Thank you so much for your time and for your support of Front Row Education. We're so excited to be supporting educators like you and are constantly trying to help as you educate our students. So thank you for all that you do.